Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Oh my gosh, I got it. It's probably going to kick us out. Hold on, let me just... Okay, it's recording. Okay. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Your Business on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Dawnette Palmore. And today I have another guest here, of course, with me. And we're going to be talking about why you need strong systems first, because AI can't fix your broken back end. And we're going to get into what that means in just a minute, but let me introduce my guest. Marci Rossi is a sought-after business strategist and systems expert who helps coaches and service providers build scalable, streamlined businesses from the ground up. With a background in law and corporate strategy, she blends big picture thinking with hands-on implementation, delivering everything from strategic planning to done-for-you systems. Her clients call her their secret weapon because she helps them grow faster, work smarter, and finally feel like a real CEO of their business. Marci, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm excited.
Me too. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do, because obviously that's just a little tiny sliver.
Yeah, absolutely. So this newest focus is one of my latest careers. I've done a little bit of everything, right? I am a lawyer in Texas, although I'm non-practicing, so no legal advice on the show today. I worked as an auditor at one of the big four auditing firms. I worked in public libraries for a while, and eventually I realized kind of what's missing is building my own business. I love getting my hands dirty. I have very strong opinions about things. I like to, be in control and really direct my future. And so this has been just the absolute best at building exactly what I want to do, putting in the time and really being able to have the kind of impact that I couldn't have in that kind of corporate box of this is all especially, in government, that's even more of a little bureaucracy box that you're stuck in. So this has definitely been my zone. I will say the business side is actually newer for me. It's been about a year now. I started out in alcohol-free coaching. So that's actually how I heard about coaching to begin with. I didn't know coaching existed outside of the sports world. And I was looking for some support in changing my relationship with alcohol, discovered a coaching program, and it was so transformational. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
So I dove into that and quickly realized I had way more fun playing with all the business things. I was trying out every marketing tool and any software that I could find. And that's what really lit me up. Like, I'm passionate about alcohol-free living, but not nearly as much as I nerd out on all of the businessy data, analytics, all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't even know they had alcohol relationship coaches. So that's amazing. I think we need more of those.
Yeah, it's really empowering, right? I'm sure, as you know, for when we're talking about money, mindset is everything, right? And that's really what it was around alcohol. It's really about how you think about it and whether or not you actually need something like this. So a lot of what I'm doing has carried over into business of really working in that mindset and empowering people to make the decisions that they're fully capable of.
Yeah.
But the done for you stuff is just so I get to play all the time.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're going to have a fun conversation. All right. So, well, we're talking about AI, but we're also talking about the before the AI, right? So
Yes.
Talking about our systems, our processes, and all that stuff. So tell us more.
Yeah, it's very vague, right? Like systems and workflows, we all need systems and processes. It's like, okay, what does that even mean, right? So it means a lot of different things. Generally, what I'm kind of talking about is having procedures, processes, steps in place so that we can replicate our success. We can duplicate it and have it over and over again. I think a lot of times when people think about AI, they're thinking of it generally as a copywriter, and that's fantastic. It can do a lot of really strong copywriting things. But if we don't have systems in place to make sure that we are getting that marketing material out there, that we have a strategy in place, that it's the stuff that we're putting out there is actually supporting what it is that we're doing, it's a step forward, but not really the kind of strong leaps that really are really going to get us where we want to go. So I like to really take a step back. That AI often is the marketing, that front end of your business, and I want to see what's behind the scenes, right? I want to see the things
Mm,
people don't see. So what happens when someone hires you, right? That's, I guess, another way that AI comes in with ManyChat. It'll try to move people through your funnel, hopefully build them on your email list. But there's a lot of things we need to have set up. We need to have smooth onboarding or a smooth purchase process so that we impress people right from the start. We need to make sure that we have a process for our lead management, right? So that people aren't falling through those funnels. Maybe ManyChat is striking up a conversation, but then how do we keep that conversation going, right? How do we build on that relationship? Because no one wants a relationship with a robot, right? So
yeah.
there's a lot of different things that we can kind of create from this, but really what we're talking about here is, what are people not seeing that
Mhm.
really impacts how everything is flowing?
Yeah, and I love that because we can only like your thing is, it's like a pig with putting lipstick on a pig. You're just really putting a Band-Aid on the problem, and
Yeah.
eventually that's gonna bleed through, right?
Yeah.
All these cracks that you have. And so, yeah, I think when you say, processes and systems, people aren't really thinking, oh, just, the things that take so much time, right? Responding to people on Instagram takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
and keeping the conversation going, relationships. But also when you were saying, having these cracks, like what happens when we don't have processes that I think I see is that you're gonna end up doing it all yourself because nobody's gonna wanna work for you or be your VA or be your assistant because there's no process in place.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot scale. You can Everybody wants to scale, everybody wants to grow, but if every time you do something, you're doing it from scratch. If you have to remember like, okay, wait, how do I get a podcast out? I have to get it out, I have to create the show notes, I have to do this, that, and the other, and you don't have some smooth, replicable process that you could hand off to somebody else, then that means you have to do it, right? And so it's one of those things that there's a little bit of work involved in the beginning where we have to set it up, but then it means you can easily hand it off to somebody else and then get back in your zone of genius, right?
Yes,
So,
I love that, and that's what we have to do. I think why do you think entrepreneurs have such a hard time letting go of little things like that?
I mean, I can speak for myself and a few of my clients, but like honestly, my brand is my name. So I take it very seriously how everything comes through because it reflects back on me. I think a lot of the people that I work with too, the frustration is like, I should be able to do this, right? Like I should be able to do X, Y, and Z. And my clients, and I'm sure your entire audience, is fully capable of doing all of these things. Now, should they? Probably not, right? Is that the best use of their limited time? Probably not. I think that you can actually earn more by doing less when those things are the right things versus being the person that's changing the colors on Canva or, tweaking a little bit of the language on your website, really staying in that zone of genius for you. So I think that's part of it. It's a little bit of that perfectionism of I want to have
Mm,
it done my way, that really, really stops people from just saying done is better than perfect. Like you can have the best offer in the world, but if you're not putting it out there, it doesn't matter. A half-assed project is going to sell way better than something that's never even put on the internet. So,
right.
yeah, yeah,
That's very true, and most people don't see, I'm not looking to see if people's colors are matching or, I mean, if it's bright, it's gonna hurt my eyes, obviously, but or if I can't read it, that's something else, but really, I'm not even thinking about all the details on the website when I go and look someone up, to be honest.
I've never purchased from somebody because their colors were better. You know what I mean? I will say that there is some level of professionalism that we want to make sure that we're
Mhm.
bringing in. And they make it so easy these days. You can buy templates for any website provider out there. You can get templates for literally anything you want to do. So having that updated look is very simple and doesn't require like this full time job of being a web designer, essentially. So yeah, but it's the trust. My trust is not going to be because you chose cornflower blue over light blue, right? It's
Right.
because you've understood my problem. You've done the work to do market research and really understand who I am and the kind of solutions that I need, which yeah, AI can support with, but
Yeah.
it's from conversations, right? With
Right,
people.
right, right. Because AI only is getting what people are putting in, and we don't put our conversations in,
Yeah.
right? Or they're just getting what people are searching, not necessarily the deep emotional part of it, which is what we try to touch on is coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can do a little bit. It obviously gets a little bit better with time. They have deep research where, AI
Yeah.
can go in and really strip through Quora and Reddit, where people are a little bit, they feel a little safer expressing their emotions and
Okay.
opinions that way. But still, it's not the same as having a one-on-one conversation, because I don't know that that exact person is my exact person, right? That's just a person expressing an issue, expressing a problem. So.
So where does your expertise come in here, since how do we fix the gap, I should say? What do we got to do to fix that gap?
Well, it really depends on where kind of the gaps are. So, for example, if I'm working with someone, we got to understand where we are now and where we want to go, right? You can't just set up processes because everybody has a podcast or everybody's on social media or whatever. It's taking a step back, understanding your skill sets, your interests, where you really want to show up, where you shine, and then where you want to be. What is that ultimate goal
Mm,
that you have? And making sure that what we're setting up supports that. Some things that we set up that basically just about everybody needs. I mean, everything is personalized, but everybody needs some way to track leads, to track interest, right? Making sure that we have a process to follow up with them, right? If someone DMs you on Instagram and you respond, like, how do you check back in? How do you make sure that they're not falling off track, right? If we're following with people in our email list, how do we have a nurture sequence built up, whether that's like an evergreen sequence, a welcome sequence, something that we can set it and forget it, so that we're making sure that we're still building that relationship even when we're taking time off. So keeping track of leads is super important if we're talking about any kind of sales, right?
yeah.
One of
And
my
everything is sales.
Everything is sales. That's all businesses. Everything sells everything. Speaking of sales, I mean, so I come to this from a customer experience background, right? Lawyers, you're serving clients. Auditors, you're serving clients. And my first jobs were in restaurants. You're literally serving clients. So everything I'm thinking about is that customer experience. So when we're talking about selling something, what happens from the minute that they find you, wherever they find you, to the minute that honestly they leave you, right? So they've purchased and they're offboarding. Those are kind of two processes, but that's really the whole flow. And so looking at that first half, what is that customer experience like? How do we get them to say yes to purchase? What happens when they say yes? How do we onboard them in a way that leaves them immediately impressed with the service, but doesn't require a ton of us kind of improving every single time someone signs up? And then towards the end, if we're talking about sales, that's the offboarding. Do we have a process in place to offboard them smoothly? Or if we're selling digital products, something like that, do we have a clear next step for them? Are we
Mhm.
directing them in a way to really increase that lifetime value so we can continue serving them beyond this one product that we're selling? So those are kind of the two there. And then for everything, marketing. What are we doing for our marketing? Do we have something set up so that we are routinely showing up in the places that we want to show up and evaluating to make sure that they're giving us the results that they want, right? I was showing up on social media for 5 to 7 days a week, every single week for over 18 months, almost 2 years. And it wasn't leading to the results. But that's not where my results were coming from, right? So eventually I had to say, it doesn't matter if this works for someone else, it's not working for me. So how can I shift that into a marketing strategy that is more tailored to me, my audience, and my goals that way? So having some kind of system in place, making sure that you keep up with that marketing, that you're staying visible, that you're getting out there, that you're making offers, that you're inviting people to work with you.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds so I'm thinking, okay, that's a lot of stuff. But it is gonna be a lot of stuff in the beginning. And imagine, feeling the stress that I felt hearing all the stuff that needs to be set up.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, well, if that's set up once, I don't have to ever think of, well, of course you'll have to tweak it later, but I don't really have to think about it anymore. Like everything's going to be done. And as you said, I can focus on my zone of genius and put my offers out there and show up in a different way, or I guess maybe even like show up more like personally, I guess. You can show up on videos or whatever
Yeah.
instead of just the social media stuff, or working in your business and not on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you said, it's staying in that zone of genius. And yes, but to be fair, it is a lot of things to set up. And I will admit, first, I have the memory of a goldfish. So when it comes to knowing what it is that I need to do, I have I use ClickUp for everything. And it's my project management tool. It's where I have my standard operating procedures, my SOPs, which are my workflows, so that I know anytime I'm going to have a blog post, I need to know that it goes through all of these steps of drafting it, editing it, publishing it, making sure there's pins promoted to it, making sure I'm turning it into an email, whatever those steps are. And they're scheduled out for me. I have automations built in there so I can open up my day, week, month, whatever, and know exactly what needs to happen. And the reason I built this was because so often I would do something that's maybe not my everyday thing. Like I don't have an SOP written out for how to post on Instagram. It was something I was doing so often, it was very clear. But for things you do a little less often, I record a podcast only once a week, or I write a blog post only once a week. Some other things I may only do once a month. And I had to sit there and remember and make sure I wasn't missing a step. Or hosting a webinar, right? That's something I don't do all the time. But I have to make sure that I have a registration page, that I have a confirmation email, that I have the replay emails coming through. I have a lot of different steps, a lot of different pages and things that I have to remember each time. And I don't have to remember it right now, right? I can pull out my webinar SOP and look through the screenshots that I have, the steps that are there to say, okay, I just have to do this. It saves you time. It saves you brain space. Your brain space is so valuable, and having to remember things that are it's just not necessary. It can be devoted to thinking strategically and planning and really diving in, like you said, really into your business and getting your hands dirty.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It frees up our mind. We don't have this cloud of what needs to be done. We can focus on what we're actually going to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. And then I would say one of the best things I ever did was hire a VA.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing too. People, going back to that perfectionism of I want to do it all myself, but man, you can just get so much more done when you're not doing the kind of responding to the same customer service emails all the time, or playing with your colors on your Instagram post or whatever that you're creating. But I will say, if you take the time to create these processes first, to document it, however you're doing. I mean, honestly, put on a screen recorder on your computer and do the thing once, and now you have a video that you can hand off to somebody. Because the biggest mistake I see is hiring VAs before you have that process in place, because it
Mm.
requires constant training and editing to say, okay, yes, but, or no, that's not actually what I was thinking, versus very clear, do this, do this, do this. It minimizes that risk of error, the risk of having to repeat it, to have to retrain. It's just a hands off, just here you go. This is how we do things here in my business.
Yeah. And even if you go to, build a team
Yeah.
and things get a little more complicated, more intricate, you're going to have those processes written down and you're just going to be like, here you go. And it's just going to be great.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it traps you in, right? Like it's taking away that creativity because everybody does things. And this is someone coming from the corporate world of, really hating coming up against those barriers and those boundaries. But I'm putting boundaries around things that free up my time to be creative. Like I get
Yeah.
to play with my new offers. I get to play with how I want to grow my business and get visible in different ways in different situations. The creativity doesn't come in how I design my landing page, or how often I send an email for reminding people to register. Like that's not really the creative part. The creative part is playing with the language. It's playing with the big picture that we have. So it feels a little restraining at first, but honestly, it frees you up to really be creative and have impactful ideas in your business.
Yeah. No, I love that. And also thinking, well, if you let other people also get into their zone of genius, like it could be beyond what you even imagined it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've hired people to do some design work because I'm like, oh yeah, mine's cute, and then I'll look at their stuff. I'm like, that would have taken me forever, or I wouldn't have even thought of that. And in the meantime, I was able to do, X, Y, and Z. So, yeah,
Ooh,
honoring.
something just flew by my eye.
Just wake up, there we go. Yeah, sorry, it was yeah, honoring their zone of genius, just like you're honoring your own zone of genius, right? We're respecting that where people really thrive and where we're able to put the best of us in, because that feels the best too when you're doing the work that really lights you up, that really only you can do. So
Yeah, and I love that too, and I do not like to micromanage people. So if I can say, "Here, this is what I like, here's how I want it done," and then just leave it alone, that could be good or bad because sometimes they go off, but, um, it just it frees up my whole mind. So I can totally see how we need to actually put all these processes and systems into place and then pull AI in to actually make it even a bigger, brighter thing.
Yeah, and it can actually help you like streamline your processes, right? So when you take a minute to say, "Hey, Chatty or Claudette or whoever you're talking to, I do this, this, and this. How can I make it more streamlined? How can I improve this process? How can I, whatever that prompt is that you're going to use?" And it can save you time. It can identify ways to really improve things. Maybe there's some unnecessary steps in there. Maybe there's ways you can combine things. So AI can absolutely help you do it. And I don't want to suggest that everybody has to go out and put everything in together right now. This can be
Yeah.
very piecemeal, right? Like if you're hosting a webinar next week, start documenting what you're doing to get ready for that, and that way you have that process for the next time. Like as you start to do things, you will build up those procedures in place, and that way when you're ready to hand them off, you have this whole library to say, I can hire someone to do any or all of these things here.
Yeah. And I know there's a ton of tools to be able to put that stuff in as well. So it's not like I have to write this down and keep it and fax it and picture it.
Yeah, there's gosh, I can't think of it at the top of my head. There is, you can just do a quick Google and you'll find it. But there is a website that'll help you create your SOPs simply because it's tracking kind of what it is that you're doing. But honestly, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be
Yeah.
screenshots. It can be a screen recorder. Just as you're working on your computer that way. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's just making sure that someone else can do it, and that way someone else can do it, and you get to do your real flow activities, those creative activities.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So if someone is saying, yeah, I need a lot of help. It sounds like me. I have this broken. I have that broken. How do they find you?
Yeah, so my website is my name, Marci Rossi. As I mentioned before, I am not on social media anymore. It just wasn't my jam from doing my analytics, but I do love having conversations with people. So you can reach out to me on my website. I'm actually getting back into blogging and really diving into documenting more of my documenting, right? A little bit meta there, but just trying to make sure that people could also create their own processes using my stuff as a template. But I just love talking to people. It is enriching for me. I get to learn so much about what my potential clients are up to. And we get into this business because we like to help people at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. We are the solution to somebody else's problem, just as they are a solution to ours.
yeah, that's business, solving
Yes.
problems for
Yes.
money.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you again so much for being here. This was a great conversation. Just it's almost it almost feels like, oh, we got to revert a little bit to go forward. But if we go forward without those things in place, we're going to limp and it's not going to be pretty and people are going to notice. So thank you for clearing all of that up, and, making it just a beautiful thing of business, that we can really not even have to stress about things like, um, oh, here's the process. Let me just put it down and let somebody else do it when the time comes. And then I can do my thing and I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, start small. Pick one thing, right? If
Yeah.
it's just that how you send your weekly newsletter, that can be one thing as you're working on that weekly newsletter. You don't have to have everything in place, but each little piece is going to build on itself as you're going through. So,
Yeah. It's awesome. And it reminded me, okay, meal planning, right? We meal plan because then we don't have to think.
yeah. I don't have any energy. Like at 5, 6 o'clock, my brain is like, I don't care what you eat for dinner. Like I'll just
Yeah.
have popcorn. I don't, it doesn't even matter to me, right? So having something there ready to go, like that's what Blue Apron and HelloFresh are, right? That's their process. They'll give you
Yeah.
the stuff. They have the ingredients and the steps, and you literally just follow it without any thinking involved. Your
Yes.
business can be just the same way.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again so much. And thank all of you guys for being here. And remember, conducting business on purpose not only fuels your success, but it also propels you towards a purposeful life. So thank you again for tuning in. And until next time, embrace your journey of intentional business and purposeful living. This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.